Dreams are complicated, like really complicated. They're expensive. They take years to finally work out, and that's the thing. They're never guaranteed to. Yet all of these big people we see on the internet only made it because they chose to follow their dreams. It feels like others just stumbled upon success when we have to shed tears for it. For most people, dreams stay dreams and never become more. But I want to make it happen. So over the last 2 years, I did just that. In this video, I'll share everything. Exactly how I lived it. I'm still working up towards my dream, but lately I finally wake up knowing that I'm actually getting closer. Even if I actually wanted to give up like 20 times in the past. So this is the sad reality of chasing your dreams. Over the last 2 years, I had different stages. But first, let me tell you my story. I was just a 19-year-old kid wanting to go to college. I always wanted to have success, so I thought that programming would get me closer. I'm from Romania and I was always ambitious, so I studied for years. I got good SAT scores, made apps, and checked everything off the college checklist. But because I didn't come from money, I ultimately couldn't go study in the US. So I tried Europe. I just didn't want to study in my own country because I felt like I needed to see more of the world. I needed a new perspective. I got into a bunch of good schools, but I quickly realized that I wouldn't follow my dream if I just went the normal route, which is school, college, then job, and then promotions until I retire. So I packed everything and went back home, which for me was really embarrassing, first of all, but also the biggest failure in my life at the time. I was so confused. I started making content without really knowing anything about it. I just knew that I wanted to have a presence in this kind of field. I had a Sony a6000, which is not a good camera for video, and just started. And then I hit my first roadblock. I was exposed to the people that know me, to my relatives, to friends. Everybody could see my videos and everybody could see that I just gave up on the normal route and wanted to do something different. To everyone, I was just another wannabe that made videos online with like 2 likes on a post. And this was incredibly hard to get over because I suddenly turned from the studious, bright future kind of guy into this person that has no views on the internet. I was literally a loser. And I kept going. People kept making fun of me, but I didn't let that stop me. Now here's the really hard part. This stage of discomfort took like 6 months. It literally took me over 6 months to get my first 200 followers. And everyone started losing hope, including me and my parents and my friends that were all being very supportive at the time. My parents said that I should apply to a college, get a job, and then stop doing this because not everyone can make it. And I learned something really important during that stage. Following your dreams is not only incredibly hard, but it's also very mentally draining and challenging. Every video that I posted had under 200 views and less than 10 likes. Videos that I spent my whole day working on. I tried everything. But it doesn't really matter unless you're either really lucky or just really consistent. For the most part of my day, I was working away on becoming better and improving my videos, even if it was incredibly difficult. But then something happened. One of my videos went viral and it changed my entire life. And I know it sounds cliche, but it did. I posted one video and it instantly performed better than anything else I've ever made. And in one morning, I woke up to over 3,000 followers, which is like insane considering I had like 200 and something at the time. And this is the second thing that I learned about the sad reality of chasing your dreams. You never know when you're gonna break through. You don't know if you're the problem, your content is the problem, if you need to do more of what works, if you need to change things up, or if you just haven't posted enough. And the worst thing is you have to constantly guess, which is really hard to do every single day with hours of your day. But after months of work, any night can change everything. So I got 3,000 followers in one night. And then I started doing more of what worked. I started essentially coming up with different ideas with the same kind of overall scheme of the video that went viral. And I learned that if you repeat what works, you will grow exponentially. But I made another video on this and how if you do the same thing over and over, you'll eventually feel like you're becoming boring or too repetitive. But if you actually had a chance to watch that video, then now you know that that isn't true. You're exposed to your craft for way longer than someone just watching a 10-minute video, or like a couple of them. And if you do the same thing for 1,000 hours, of course you're gonna be bored. But it's not the same as watching a few 10-minute videos. That person that's watching the videos has so little exposure that this is still new, even if you're repeating it for years. And once I started realizing that, my content performed way better. Now, it's not all about the numbers. I barely made any money when I started out, which is super important to point out because I feel whenever money enters the conversation, the whole thing kind of becomes muddy. But yeah, I didn't make any money for the first 6 months. I mean, I made 20 bucks every now and then, but I was still living with my parents and had pretty much nothing to my name. And by the way, this was like 8 months in. But followers kept growing and I started seeing real potential with my videos. But again, it's really difficult to tell if something is working if you don't have tangible results. And in my case, that needed to be money. I needed freedom. I needed to move out. And then I reached the most important part of this chapter. I made my first $1,000 month. By this point, I literally worked for months, like every single day, 14 hours. And I had the same following. Pretty good views, pretty good videos, and a lot of creativity and time. So I tried searching for YouTubers that needed editors. I kid you not that I searched for YouTubers for like 4 hours every single day for like 2 weeks. And I barely got any response. And every normal, like sane person would have just quit. But I just kept going, even if I sent like thousands of emails. And then people started asking for examples and portfolios and people were interested. But the crazy thing is that when I got my first 2 clients for $100 a video, I moved out and took a risk. I didn't really care if it wouldn't work or anything. I didn't wait like 3 months to see if this was consistent. I just kind of knew that if I put myself in a situation with no escape, I'd eventually succeed. So I did that. Then clients kept coming in, and before I knew it, I had like $1,500 monthly, all made because of my skills and hard work. And to someone that never grew up with money, this was incredible. I could finally buy all the snacks that I wanted, and like I didn't have a problem buying the games that I wanted for the first time ever, and it felt like I was really free. This was also when I realized something else. When you don't have money problems, you can become way more creative. When I didn't have any money, I constantly thought about how I could monetize whatever I was making, and when the day would come that I would actually be free to not have any worries about it. And it was always in the back of my head, but it was constantly like pulsating. So I couldn't be incredibly creative because I didn't even know this would work. And putting even more effort into it felt impossible. Mind you, I was already working like 12 hours daily on content because I had so much free time. But when I started making real money, that got me a new iPhone, games, food, and freedom, my entire life changed. After that, I kept making more and more money, and I realized something else. Making money is a skill. The more you do it, the better you become at it. And it's very hard to actually start, but once you do, it's incredibly easy to grow. So I did just that. I grew. And I made videos daily, sourced clients, edited for YouTubers, and for 2 months, that was my life. But then I jumped to $2,000 a month and then $3,000. And I started doing UGC, which brought me even more money, and started collaborating with all of these different brands. And at this part of the story, most people will be like, yeah, sure. The people that know me know that this is real. No matter how true you are on the internet, it's always gonna feel skeptical because I'm just a random guy making a video about my journey following my dream. But that's okay, because I was skeptical too, and I kept going despite it. So one of the sad realities of chasing your dreams is that you do need money. You need money to buy your freedom. Otherwise, you won't be able to focus entirely on creating no matter what. And once you do start making money, either by making use of your skills or like your time or your audience, then it's really easy to make more and more and more. But eventually you'll fall into the money trap. Sometimes you make too much money. Let me explain. So whenever you learn that your time has real value, like not just a 9 to 5 value, but real actual value, you want to maximize it. So I prioritized making money and editing other people's videos over my own content. And slowly I became more and more inconsistent. The problem was that I didn't see results from my own content, but I saw results from putting time into other people's work because that paid real money that I could use. But I was really, really wrong here. Because if you really think about it, this thing, my content, was the only thing that made everything else possible. Without my channel, I wouldn't have gotten this far. And I didn't realize this until very late in my journey because I kept focusing on making more and more money. And I got to the point where after 8 months, I had so much work and so many different clients that I was constantly making way more than I could spend, which to me, someone living in Bucharest with a pretty normal lifestyle, was a lot. But it came at a cost. I couldn't be as creative. This thing that brought me freedom was also the reason I couldn't follow my dreams anymore. So I stopped. My dream was the one that made all of this possible. But somewhere along the way, I forgot to chase it even more. This is now. I stopped working with some of my clients and started focusing on my dream, which is to become one of the best content creators in the field, and also to inspire people to create and start making videos online. Because if with no resources I managed to get this far, imagine how far I can get when I have real money to spend and time to put into it. Dreams are hard to chase, but that's because you're essentially chasing something that doesn't exist. There's no system to making your dreams come true. There's no guarantee. And there are so many shiny things that take your eyes off the prize. But if you ignore all of these, only then can you become the very best in your field. So this is the final thing that I learned. Saying no is sometimes more important than saying yes. Because even if you can fill your time with more and more clients, making more money than you could have ever imagined, it comes at the cost of your dream. And even if I have a lot to go, I'm proud of what I made right now. This is just the beginning. And I created this channel to spread creativity and help people realize their potential without gurus or anything like that. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy in his 20s that just wants to make videos all day. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. The sad reality of chasing your dream is that it's really foggy. You never have all the information you need. You never have certainty that it will work. And you're always exposed to the world's thoughts. And that's why only a few people actually make it. But if you want to make it, you can. Anyway, if you like this video, consider subscribing because I'll be posting twice a week. I'm also going to be making tutorials on content creation specifically, so if that's something you're interested in, why not subscribe? Also, follow me at RobOnFilm on Instagram as well. I'm also open to any comments or questions, and I'm literally really friendly, so reach out and we can talk about anything. This is it for this video. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.